Hey guys, welcome back. I thought I'd do a quick video update for Parker C and everybody else that requested another XXII vid for today, 22nd century. So today we did have a bit of a dippage. It was to be somewhat expected, but I didn't expect it to necessarily dip below 3 for this long. I did think that we were going to have some retestment of, the 3 area and hold around 2.95, $3. It's a little bit lower than I thought, but I still don't think it's as scary as it looks. As you can see here, I do have the 30-minute chart pulled up, and if you look how we have been above this trend for so long, and I haven't changed these fibs from yesterday, by the way. This is the same fib fan that we did last night. As you can see, it's testing down on this lower 38.2% line, and that's not so unexpected. I know it looks like a lot when you're zoomed in, and like let's even go down to like the 5-minute, right? When you're zoomed in and this is what you see, you're like, ah, shit, like the price is dropping, it's going to the right, but it's not doing anything else. Like, yeah, it does look pretty bad, but that's why we zoom out and we take bigger pictures, you know what I mean? So since the 8th of September, it's just been going up, guys. You got to remember that. It's just been going up, right? So it's got to retest this stuff like we've been talking about. Now I was hoping that, remember, this candle here, I was really hoping that the candle on the 20th would have been our retest, but it's just, I don't think it filled enough. As you can see, this is a pretty big drop here, and this is a pretty big up here, and we have just steady up after this drop as well. So there's just bits and pieces that need to be filled out in the chart, and I don't think that what it's doing now is so crazy that it's scary. But here is what is a little interesting is I know you guys have a lot of people that joined in were waiting on news about buyout, or not buyout, but merger deals and things like that with BAT. And there has been a lot of news not given out lately. And I know that you guys have been waiting on that. So many people, they get impatient and they sell. And what I'm seeing now doesn't look so much like a crash in stock price, it's just people getting out and not sure, and the longs that are in are not sure if they're buying more and things like that. That's what it kind of looks like to me. So again, I think that we're testing in this lower fib here on the 38.2. It's not scary to me yet. What would be scary is if we're getting down to this 50% line and not recovering at all. But let's pull up a couple of studies and see how it looks compared to yesterday, and see if we can garner any information from that. So we're still on the 60-minute for now, and as you can see, we had our sell signal here just a little bit earlier in the day at about 10 o'clock. So naturally, a lot of people are going to follow that, and it's going to trigger some sells and scanners, algorithms that people use and things like that. So when you get a sell signal like this, it's just going to happen. We're going to get lower stock price, but you have to remember when sells happen, they always recover. We don't know when, we don't know how long, but things are cyclical, right? So what we need to do is try to determine where this will recover. And as you can see, it's approaching oversold, and a little bit is oversold on the Chond and the stochastic momentum already on the 60. So I like that actually, because this stock price didn't get super killed and we're already on oversold a little bit. And once we get into oversold, that's when things like to turn around. And remember, like we looked at this before, when it gets into oversold, it does not last long on this stock. If you check back here at the beginning of September, at the end of August, if you even go back into August, every time it dips into oversold, it does not last that long, right? So if you go with the patterns in the past, it's not that scary. And I honestly think this retracement is very healthy in my opinion. Like I said, we had so long going up on this hard trend that it's not going to just sustain that and keep it most of the times. And if you look at the volume as well, it's still pretty steady. It's still higher than it was in this whole flat area. So we still have plenty of action going on. Let's switch over to our daily really quick though and see how those indicators are looking, those two. Okay, so as you can see here, we just now got the sell signal on the daily. Looks like Yeah, on the 20th yesterday. And I think I even said in the video that it's going to be down and testing a little bit more. And that's just natural for this to happen. It can't always go up, right? So I think we have another couple days of it being in this selling area. I don't think it's going to dip that much harder from now, but it is going to dip a little bit more, I believe. And I remember when I first sold at 297, I even said my reentry is going to be probably around 260 or so. I don't know if it'll go that low, but that's what I was looking at. But let's zoom back in a little bit more and go to the 15-minute. And yeah, as you can see, oversold, oversold. So we just need to wait for these to recover a bit, and I legitimately think a day, 2 days at tops. But let's get rid of these guys, and let's pull up our trusty MACD. And I would also like to see our pivot points as well, and see what we can garner from some Fibonacci pivots. Okay, so our MACD just now got to a sell signal on the 15-minute, but let's check it out on the 60. Okay, so we've already been in a sell signal, so this should have been expected if you're watching MACD on the 60-minute, that it's just going to be down a bit. But look how far, it's not deviating that far at all, so this could recover at any time. And again, I'm thinking maybe a day or two tops, and this will start curving back up, especially because we're below the zero line now. We've reached that low point where MACD really, it doesn't like to be below it for too long most of the time, on this stock anyway. As you can see, look, it just kind of rides the line, just kind of goes a little bit below, maybe negative 0.03. It's not that bad, and I don't think it's going to be that bad again, but we do have to deal with this being cooled down until it recovers. Now let's take a look at our pivot points here. I'd actually like to do it, no, let's start with the 60-minute first, yeah. So we're still in that resistance zone, and we're heading into that first support zone. So remember I said it's not going to it's not going to continuously hang out in a resistance zone forever. It does have to get back to support. Now, these pivots last about 7 days, and we're about 1, 2, 3, 4 days into this one. So this resistance zone is going to change in about 2 to 3 days, right? And I think that it's going to honestly have to be in the support zone for a little bit longer. And as you can see, it is approaching this fib trend as well. So I think a combination of it going in the support zone and wanting to test this trend are the causes for this right now. I mean, and you can see in the MACD. So what do I see for tomorrow? I see it going a little bit lower. I see it testing this trend line, but I think that it's going to find a recovery point in this zone, and then we're going to start recovering back to $3. So let me take these pivots off. Actually, you know what? Let me put some horizontals first. All right, here. I don't think I need to put any down here. I legitimately don't think it's going to go that low. I'll put one up there. Okay. Okay, so as you can see, if it continues horizontally, it's going to intersect the Fibonacci at exactly on the 25th. And I think, honestly, that is a good zone for it to start testing and going back up. So that's around 294 there. But I do see it possibly going back down to 275, like I said. I said this a while ago that when I did my swing trade from 244 to 297, I think it's going to be back in the 270s. And I legitimately think it's going to do that again. But do I think that that is terrible for the stock? Absolutely not. It needed to cool off. It needed to find a new support. I mean, and as we saw in the pivot points, it's not even in support right now. So it's just, it needs to find its new zone. So my honest feelings are you're going to see around 281 to 275 again. And if you're holding and you're not at a loss, maybe sell for some gains and try to rebuy. But if you're holding at a loss, it may be a good time to double down when we are retesting these 270s. But I do think that we are definitely going to see that at least 280. I'm not sure about 275, but at least 280 I think we're going to see again, especially as people get more scared tomorrow. But I do believe that by time we get to the 26th and 27th, that we'll be testing this fib again, and we may be back up to 307 by the end of the 27th. Let me put that horizontal there at that intersection. Okay? So be careful if you're holding it for a gain right now. Like I said, it may be an okay time to sell and try to rebuy lower. But if you're holding at a loss, try to double down possibly in the 280s. Maybe even as low as 275. But that's my guess right here is this little line. I wish I had better news for tomorrow. I do think that it needs to find that support zone, and as you can see right here, we've had these peaks down here, or these dips right here rather, and that's only midway on this huge jump we had. So we may even test the bottom of that jump, and again, that's like 272 to 278. I think for sure 280 you're gonna see. So just kind of decide from there. Do your own charting, of course, guys. Do your own looks at everything, because news could change this. Anything could change that. Make sure to do your own research. Figure it out for yourself. You know, I'm just a guy doing my own charts and doing it how I see it. So good luck to everybody tomorrow. I hope it doesn't dip too hard, and I hope the recovery is really fast. But make sure to keep an eye on that MACD. Make sure to keep an eye on the stochastic momentum. And keep an eye on that mid 270s to 280s range, okay? Have a good one, guys.